Okay, so if you are having symptoms and issues that you don't know exactly what is, causing them, I want to talk about some of the basics of things that our body needs that we are not getting. And especially once you are going through any type of ascension, you will notice a lot of times these things are accentuated, which is a lot of what's happening on our planet. Different energy centers are being opened up and causing things that we did not realize how bad they were, or maybe didn't even realize, maybe weren't even experiencing before. So, some stuff that we were told also is, incorrect. But I want to talk about the obvious. This is going to be the basics if you are trying to build muscle or tissue, or if you're like foggy brain or any nervous system issues. This is a lot of the basic things that we need. And when we are eating things like gluten or processed flour type products, those are blocking nutrients from absorbing in our bloodstream alone. I'm not really going to get into diet on this and food in this video, but I do want to talk about some really important essential things if you are trying to build muscle, for example, or or if you're vegan and not getting enough protein, you would want to take amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of everything to build and repair tissue. And this is cognition, how our hormones are flowing through our body. This is everything. Amino acids are the building blocks of all kinds of proteins that we need. And this will especially, accelerate function if you are athletic, etc. And if you're not, it's even more reason to, because it can increase your energy and all kinds of things. We need amino acids. And the kind that I, recommend and love. And, I started taking these, I want to say, 12 years ago. And then I hadn't taken them for many, many years. My roommate actually just started taking some, and I was like, you know what? I've been more vegan than ever right now. I probably should start, upping my game again on these, because, these really helped. I did notice a difference. And during the time period I took them, I want to say 12 or so years ago, I was, in a chemistry course at the time. I was doing a lot of the sciences and bodily pre-med type of stuff. I had stayed after one day and talked to my chemistry teacher about whether or not these work, because this, for oxygen, this cell food right here is to increase your oxygen or levels, or so it says, in your blood. Ultimately, the number one way to increase your oxygen is by breathing, but obviously we all breathe. I'm more so in a pranayama type way. So you are doing breathing exercises that is increasing oxygen. You will notice a difference. If you do any type of practices like that. Is also anti-aging, as this is considered anti-aging also, not only for the building block proteins that we need for our skin and our hair and our nails and everything. So amino acids, hands down, are very, very important to take. So these are the kind that I do take. This is the kind that she bought, and she does not like the taste of them. She actually has a hard time getting it down. These you just put in up to 8 drops. It says that it can detox you at first, so to start slow with less into water. And once that molecule binds to the water, it's supposed to increase your oxygen too. My chemistry teacher was like, I'm not so sure about that as far as the oxygen, but I promise you, I definitely notice a difference in so many ways, and that's including skin and muscle tone, etc. But energy levels, these are all things that I take first thing in the morning. I also had been diagnosed with, at some point, during, 12 years ago, when I went through this big shift, and my body was freaking out, and I couldn't, I had ended up in the emergency room once or twice. One time they did a brain scan and said I was in the beginning stages of multiple sclerosis. My body was just losing its mind pretty much. If you picture a robot and you pull the plug and the wires explode everywhere, that's kind of what it felt like. It's just all kind of weird stuff. And even though I had a holistic mindset and was actually studying the body and how all kind of stuff, how it works, and nutrition, and it didn't, I knew better. I knew it was mental. This is all nervous system. it was just a really big shift time period of my life. My body was still freaking out. So regardless of them saying that, I improved my health times a million by supplementing with the right things. And the other thing is now 10 years later, or however many years it's been, when this big thing hit a couple years ago, the panty, all of the vitamins that they say are the basis to improve your health, that all the doctors are saying are the basics to take, are all vitamins I had been taking and supplementing to improve that, because I also felt autoimmune and I have been ADHD my whole life, etc. So everything that I'm talking about are the basics, and I'm telling you, not only through science and research, obviously the doctors do agree, and this is also through trial with little error to none, because I have done this. And another thing is vitamin D. We are all being told to take vitamin D, but what's interesting about vitamin D is during that time period, so say I was like down and depressed during that time and had all those things going on, I started taking vitamin D, and I had a family member who was like, there's no way. I was like, no, I know I'm vitamin D deficient because I'm taking it. Now keep in mind, I'm very, very much aware at this point in time also about the placebo effect. So I'm well aware that's not what is making me feel better. I could physically notice a difference when I took vitamin D to when I did not. And she was like, there's no way you can tell that you're vitamin D deficient. You haven't even been to a doctor and all this stuff, right? It's telling me that it is crap, basically, and I'm wrong. And she was pretty bent that I was sure I was vitamin D deficient, that I needed vitamin D. So I did start supplementing with it. I did notice an improvement in my mood and many other things. I am telling you, hands down, I could tell the difference. Now, what's funny is, living in Arizona, they say that you get vitamin D from the sun, and that it doesn't absorb well, is what everything I ever read did say, that it, our body doesn't absorb it through the digestive system. We have to get it from sunlight. But it just so happens that in the sunniest state in the country, also was testing for the lowest levels of vitamin D out of all 50, however many states we have here. It was saying that, it is the lowest tested for vitamin D. So, which I found out some years later, or had read some years later, and then read again years after that. So I would say supplementing with vitamin D definitely does help, but I do want to note, this is not that high of a milligram. You want to take the highest milligram you can find in the store, which I think is normally like 5,000 something. That is if you were to go to like a naturopath too, I think that is the level that they start prescribing at. So you can usually find those over the counter at 5,000 or so, something like that. If not, just get the highest one you can find. But the K2, so a lot of people are taking vitamin D, but the thing is they may not be taking K2 also, and the K2 is what transports the vitamin D to where it needs to go. So it's one thing to supplement with it and put it into your system, put the vitamin D inside you. I was going to say, it's one thing to put it in you. It's another thing for it to get transported to where it needs to go. And it needs K2 to do that. So I do recommend supplementing with K2 in addition to vitamin D. And you can see even like with this one, they're already made together. It's just that this one is a lower dosage. So you would want to buy them separate, or take an additional vitamin D supplement on this, because this one's only this is a low amount, but of vitamin D it's not enough. So the other thing I want to say is vitamin B12. Most people do not realize that they are deficient in, because we are not getting enough B12 in I think vitamin B12 comes mostly in some animal products. And the thing is, like I said, especially if you're eating any type of processed flour, gluten type of foods, that's blocking nutrients from absorbing in the first place. But most people aren't absorbing vitamin B12 in their gut as it is. Plus, it's really hard to get in the diet. Some animal products have it. You're still probably not getting enough. And that's even if you were getting vitamin B12, it's probably not absorbing into your gut and your bloodstream throughout your digestive system, etc. So I definitely recommend that these are sublingual drops that you drop underneath your tongue. there is a big vein underneath there that absorbs everything that is put in there. So that is a sure way to make sure it is going to your bloodstream. And I do want to say I have taken a pill form. It's like they dissolve a tablet underneath your tongue. I hated them. I hated the way I felt on them. They would make me feel weird and just like weird. Like and I had tried 2 different kinds of the tablet form. I don't know why I tried those instead of these, because I have been using these forever and they work amazing. I do recommend that if you do take the drops to get a flavored one if it's an option, because these are raspberry flavored and I have had non-flavored ones and they're horrific to me, but it is what it is. You have to do what you have to do. It's harder to get down, so that's why they do make flavored. This is a B complex and it has B12, biotin, and B6, and a few other ones, thiamine, etc. So this one though is going to be, these are both great for energy. This is extra energy, and this also has folic acid, B12 and B6. This is, you'll notice a lot of B12 and B6 in energy drinks, and the folic acid is also really, really good for brain function and health, and also, building blocks. These are the basics of basics that everybody needs, and B12 and B6 are very complementing with each other. So I do recommend all of these are. So I do recommend taking drops underneath your tongue. This is great for energy also. In the morning, anything that I'm talking about is going to improve your energy times, massive amounts. From somebody who used to take ADHD medication and drink caffeine times a billion, everything that I could do to get by, especially going through school and work and etc. I can tell you that everything I'm talking about naturally increases your energy, and all these things I take in the morning, typically, especially the drops, it will really everything, and also your body absorbs everything first thing in the morning. So more than anything, when your system doesn't have anything in it. And then I recommend taking some form of green, like a chlorella or spirulina or whichever, and what's the other one? I don't know, but these are really good for energy.